Hi, I'm Don Bodan from SampleLibraryReview.com, and I'm very excited. Today we're taking a look at the Symphony Series Woodwinds from Soundiron and Native Instruments. Now, the Symphony Series Woodwind collection contains both the Symphony Series Woodwind ensembles and the Symphony Series solo instruments. For the ensembles, Soundiron tracked 6 players per section for a total of 314 articulations, and the soloists contain 148 articulations. Together, the collection downloads as 50 gigabytes of losslessly compressed data. It contains over 60,000 samples and 93 contact presets. The Woodwinds Solo sells for $299. There's a cross-grade option for $149. The Woodwinds Ensemble sells for $399 with a cross-grade of $199. And the Woodwind Collection Bundle, both of the instruments together, sells for $499 with a cross-grade for $299 US. Now, the pros are many with the Symphony Series Woodwinds. There's a great depth of articulations, including sustains, true legato instruments, staccatos, crescendos, decrescendos, sforzando patches, and some very cool effects articulations in the effects patches. The INTUTIVE GUI is the same kind of interface that was used for the Symphony Series Brass, using the articulation slot system. Easy to load up your own selection of articulations for the instrument. I personally really like the sounds of these instruments in this church that they've recorded them. Taste and orchestral timbre do differ, so be sure and check the link below. I'll include all the demos or other walkthrough videos I can find. Now, one of the standout features for me is the ARPEGGIO instruments and the ARPEGGIO run tool. Not only can you approach arpeggios in several different ways, you have lots of different controls that give you the ability to really sculpt and craft your runs either pre-thought out or on the fly. Also of note is the usability of the ensemble and the woodwind quintet instruments. found that when the woodwinds didn't have to do any real heavy lifting, that these patches alone could easily make it into my final mixes without having to separate all the parts. Also very cool that the tenor saxophone was included both as a section and as a solo instrument. Now the cons here are important to note that this is not a completely dry library. Even with the close mics, you get some tails from the room. So if you're a stickler in having a completely dry library to bus into your own effects, you may have some trouble with this instrument. Another con is there's no solo piccolo. Also would have been neat to have an English horn included with the solo instruments. It's also important to note that these are not conventional section sizes. The ensemble recorded Soundiron captured 6 players for each section. This is unproportional to the kind of standard orchestra wind section you would use. It's even excessive when it comes to epic orchestra or that big Hollywood sound. But if there's anything I've learned after doing 100 reviews or so, it's that samples behave differently than the real world does, and the numbers all go out the window. It's all about the sound and the usability in your template that matter. I reached out to Soundiron to ask what the thinking was about the choices, but they hadn't gotten back to me before I did the video review. Hopefully I'll hear back from them and I can put some of that in the full written review. I'll be sure to include a link to that in the description below. Now my favorite instruments included in the library were the bass winds ensembles. It's not only a personal favorite, but the instrument has this kind of beauty that makes you want to write more for bass winds. I found that the bass winds true legato really shines. And going the extra mile, Soundiron captured and created 3 different dynamics for the legato articulations. Adds so much expressiveness to the instrument. Overall, I really love this set of instruments. It's very musical. I think it's very usable right out of the box as well. I even think that there's something about it that I'm a little bit more emotionally involved with than the Symphony Series Brass, and I was actually a pretty big fan of that library. I highly recommend you take a look at this library, especially if you're a composer with a giant hole in your woodwind ensembles. GUI's very easy to get accustomed to. The articulation slots work very well. And at the cross-grade price of $299 for the collection, it's definitely a great deal. Thanks for checking out the video. We'd love your support. Head over to Sample Library Reviews Patreon page. This is a place for both users and developers to help us continue to create videos like this for you.